The heart of BenCare really is to provide a service. Imagine a young child who's lost a mother, a father who used to work, and they are anxious of, am I going to go back to school? Am I going to have my daily needs looked after? I understand that maybe my parents had some insurance at the company they worked for, but how's that money going to be looked after in terms of taking care of my needs? And those are, I would say, the nuts and bolts of what drives BenCare and what the basis of the solution is. It provides surety and comfort to a guardian and a beneficiary to say there is this reputable institution that the trustees of the fund that my parents used to belong to have been entrusted to look after my needs by ensuring monthly payments to look after my education needs and so on. That assurance is hugely important for a child who's gone through the trauma of losing a parent. That communication, that access, and speaking not to a machine over the phone if you need assistance, but speaking to a person, that physical touch, knowing that you're speaking to an individual on the other line of the phone, I think brings comfort in that and pulls through that assurance that I spoke about. So we would receive documentation to say, hey, notification of who's passed away and the amount that has been allocated through legislation to a particular individual who's below the age of majority, and then the fund would appoint us to look after those assets, right? So I think the first thing we do is to get in touch with the guardian and the minor child to ascertain their income requirements. That's huge. I mean, we do that within 48 hours upon receipt of the initial documentation. And what that does is, again, pull through that assurance to say, hey, someone's actually looking into this on my behalf. Someone is asking the right questions to ensure that the admin that needs to be taken care of is taken care of. And ultimately, we get to the point of ensuring that your education isn't disturbed, your transportation to and from school isn't disturbed, and your medical needs and any other daily needs that you had are not disturbed either once that money has come through. So that initial contact is hugely important for us, and we do that in all the official languages in the country. And again, we don't do that just because, you know, it's a nice thing to have, but once you speak to someone in a language that they identify and fully understand, it brings them closer to the solution and helps them to understand exactly how the process works. People have got to have access to you. People have got to be able to ask the difficult questions. You've got to be able to answer them in a way that they understand. You've got to simplify the process. As an industry, we all have to introspect about the means that we use to communicate with beneficiaries across BenCare and similar solutions. But I think we've gotten that right at Fedgroup. The fact that we're able to speak to people over the telephone, issue communication once a year, and explain these concepts to them in a language that they understand goes a long way in breaking down those barriers. Our view is to provide the basics, right? Make the whole process look simple, right? Bring assurance to beneficiaries who are traumatized by losing a parent. I mean, for a lot of people, including myself, I lost my mom when I was very young. And I understand the anxiety and, you know, the how scared you become because you see other kids in your village or little town who had their parents pass away and never went back to school or never went back to the same school. So if we can provide that message, if we can really break it down to what it is that we do, what we're passionate about, and how we do it, and how easy we make it for people to interact with us, that's the message I want to take to the market.